Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episodes. You can catch our recaps at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. Today, we are covering Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 9. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I'm your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you'd like to connect with me online, you can pretty much find me everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
All right, so before we get started, we'd like to remind you that we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube, hit us up in the comment section. If you're catching this on our replay, you can still comment on any platform, or you can even call us by using the voicemail link in the show notes. If you're new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Right. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around. And of course, huge spoiler alert for everything, every show in the universe through yesterday's episode. So if you're cool with that, this is the place for you. And let's just get started. What did you think of the episode, Lisa?
Sorry. Should I have been a bit more articulate on that one?
Look, I get it. I got it. And I'm actually really relieved because I was also, what was that? So, yeah, I'm glad.
Okay, so number one, truthfully, I'm going to begin with I don't understand why they're all freaking out over Troy so much.
Okay.
I mean, truthfully, one, he has no idea where Padre is. They can just hole up in there and he can wander around the swamp for years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because no one found Padre until Morgan did.
Right.
So that was 15 plus years of people searching for it. All those parents looking for their kids. No one ever found Padre. They can slog around in the swamp all they want. And they can just avoid him.
Yeah, true.
So this whole let's go to war thing doesn't even make any sense. All right, he's got what, 30 guys? Maybe?
To be honest, this whole plot is kind of
Dumb.
lame. Yeah. It's like they didn't put that much thought into it. They wanted to just bring back some characters, show everyone on the screen at one point or another. Everyone gets FaceTime and be done with it. And I'm like, they could have come up with something else as the big bad to end this season. It would have been so much better.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. To end this season, they didn't even actually need a big bad. If they really wanted to send this show off on a high note, they could have spent spent the second half of this very last season building Padre.
Oh my God, that would have been dull to watch too.
Well, but here's the thing. They could have, met with different groups, the little tiny conflicts and so on and so forth. There's only 6 episodes. They could have used that to build up, kind of like what they did over on The Walking Dead. Without having this big, or if they had some kind of conflict, they shouldn't have brought in someone as stupid as Troy.
Kind of maybe just internal conflict amongst themselves,
Yeah.
maybe.
They could have, what's the right way to go? They could have found, I mean, they could have even brought Victor back. They found his community, and there could have been some conflict there. There could have been, reunions. There could have been all sorts of things going on without this. We have to go to war with Troy and his 30 people who can't find our site.
Well, it sounds like they're trying to re-up some internal conflict because the reason supposedly that they came out there was, "Oh my god, they put Victor in charge. Get back here. We need you because they'll listen to you."
Well, it wasn't just Victor being in charge. It was those kids will listen to you if we have to go fight. And again, why? Why go to Troy? Why bring the war to him? Just sit tight on your island that no one can find.
I think sometimes it's just drama for the sake of drama. I think I said that last week. It's
Yeah.
kind of like just they're really just trying to amp it up and get everyone like excited, but it's failing all over the place. No one is really liking it, to be honest. After that mid-season finale, ever since it came back, like the first episode, yeah, people were like, okay, yeah, let's see where this goes. But I
Mm-hmm.
haven't heard anyone really raving about it the last 2 weeks.
No. And all the hype. Oh, this is gonna be the greatest mom. No, it's not. It's stupid. And
Yeah.
I'd also okay. So we have Dwight going back home to him and
Yes.
Sherry's original home, which, by the way, is not all that far from Alexandria.
That's another gripe. They're just walking back and forth to places and it just doesn't seem like it's that much time. I still don't quite get it. I need to know kind of where it is exactly. I don't really know that.
Well, we know that Dwight and Sherry's house isn't far from the sanctuary. All right. And sanctuary is not that far from Alexandria. He
Which
was,
is far from where they are.
but we don't know exactly where they're. We know that Padre's somewhere in Louisiana ish area.
How much time would it take someone to walk or even hell ride a motorcycle from Louisiana to Virginia?
Um, well, I can tell you how long it would take under normal circumstances.
But it seems like it was a day. I'm gone,
Yeah,
I'm here. Okay, we're here behind you.
right.
I just oh my god.
I mean, under normal circumstances, all right, where you can stop and get gas on the regular and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, let's see, from Louisiana to Florida is like 5 hours, 6 hours. So from there to Virginia, if you figure up, yeah, maybe about 6 or 7 hours, depending on which route you take. But again, that's also figuring in where you can stop for gas, where you can
right.
get gas. Or if you're walking, it's going to be considerably longer.
Yes.
All right. But if taking interstate, it's not that far. You know,
I don't know. I try not to get hung up in that too much anymore, but whenever I really give it pause and think about it, I'm annoyed. I'm like, "What?"
well, especially if at any point in time we come back to Morgan and Mo and they had some epic trek, to get back to Alexandria. You know what I mean? I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to do that, but I do believe, honestly, I'm fairly convinced at this point that Morgan will at least make a brief appearance in the ones who lived.
Yeah, I hope so, honestly. It wouldn't surprise me. I'd be happy for it even if, like you said, it was brief for
Well,
whatever
and
reason.
and part of that is because they kind of set that up at the very at the season or the mid season's finale when he
Mhm.
gets on the radio and he says, "This is Morgan Jones," looking for the same message in reverse that Rick had sent to him all those times.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me in the least if he showed up there. Now, again, if he has some epic Trek story to tell to get back to Alexandria after Dwight just sauntered over there, I'm going to be a little upset.
I know. It seemed like it was so easy. Like we didn't even see a overnight scene of him sleeping somewhere else. Nothing. We're just
Right.
here.
Now, I will say that apparently it's been several months since Dwight said he left, and we've seen him this time when him and Sherry when they both decided they were bad for each other.
Mhm.
We don't know how long he's been sitting in that house.
Right.
He could have just arrived. He could have been there for weeks. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but the way he was looking at stuff, I don't know, it just felt like he was new to there, but maybe
Right.
not. Maybe not.
I mean, and again, if he walked and it's been say 6 months since he left, the him and Sherry last saw each other, that'd probably make sense if he walked it.
Yeah.
Um, Now Sherry
Well, they
and
would have caught up to him because they had a vehicle.
right. I was just
So,
gonna say they had a vehicle, so technically it wouldn't have been that far for them.
mhm.
2-day ride maybe, as long as they had the gasoline.
Right.
But again, the whole point of bringing him back, those kids respect you. They'll fight for you. Okay, and again, just hole up in there. And it's a very defensible place. We know that it's a very defensible place. They can, as long as they've got sentries and, send out, the occasional boat sweep, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, it is an island and it's not even a close island. It's out there.
Mhm.
It was a decent boat ride for Morgan and to arrive onto that island.
Right. Well, they didn't choose that. Now we're here, which is dumb, but we're here. And I feel like I kind of knew what was going to happen in this episode before it actually happened,
Yeah.
which is a little bit of a downer. I kind of wanted some twists and I really didn't get any. I felt like what I thought would happen is exactly kind of what happened, not verbatim, but close.
Did
Um,
you get like the Peter Pan thing going on? Can't trust the grown-ups. Yeah.
oh my gosh. So, to be honest, and I know this is going to sound mean, I know it, I own it, but this is just how I feel about these characters. I feel like it was a waste of energy to bring Dove along. I know that she was supposed to add some validity to we need you, but all she was just angry. She was just angry. She's
Well, it
like, I
wasn't
wanted
just
to. Go
yeah,
ahead.
she wasn't even there for the validity of it.
No,
That was her way to get out of
right.
Padre.
But that's what the adults wanted her for.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
wanted to run away. She was like, I'm done with you guys. You can't. I mean, honestly, and when the girl got shot, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I had no feelings about it. I wasn't like, oh, I mean, why did they pick this girl? Just because she was like a more recognizable character from the first, beginning of the season?
Yes, the flip-floppy trader. Let's
Right.
choose her. You
Right.
know, I'm sorry. But I mean, no, but seriously, she really was. Because first she's all Padre, and then she's like, screw Padre, and then she's all Padre again. And
She
you
don't
know,
know what she wants.
and I never really liked her character to begin with.
Same.
You know, she,
Exactly.
I didn't find her very compelling.
No.
Mostly in her overreaction to find out, her history, which was just dumb to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, all these kids know that they were taken. They all knew, an adult had taken them at some point. And considering Madison was their number one collector, shouldn't have been surprised that it was
Right.
Madison.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that as soon as it's all about, Madison took me as a baby. Now I'm not gonna like you anymore. I don't know. It was just dumb.
It was dumb. And again, I think they chose wrong to
Hmm.
bring this character along. I didn't feel any extra anything from her being there. I didn't
No.
really care what happened to her. They could have totally killed her and I would have been like, "Oh, well that's
Well,
unfortunate."
and the reason she got shot is because she's trying to steal the truck to get away, and she was gonna strand the other two there.
Yes.
I'd just like to point that out.
Right.
Her plan was to strand them. And
Yes.
as soon as she said, I saw them trying to steal the truck, okay, I knew she was lying. Because one, the other three adults would have woken up.
Mm-hmm. She a little
And
liar.
and two, they wouldn't have just taken the truck because they were out to get Dwight.
Right.
They wouldn't have been satisfied with just taking his truck.
No. And then, so I guess also the point of her was to kind of help June get over herself, right? I guess that was part of the tactics the writers were trying to use her character for.
Okay, I'm gonna share something with y'all.
Yeah.
All right, so she got her index finger cut off, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, I can't do anything. I don't have my index finger. I spent like an hour after the show just picking stuff up and doing stuff, which is my middle finger and thumb instead of using my index finger. And I'm like, I don't understand what her difficulty is. Yeah,
It was mental. Like it was all mental. And
I mean,
June is kind of whack in that way anyway. She is weird about running away from things. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
she's always kind of been like that. So it was kind of
yeah,
like, here we go again.
yeah. She always. I mean, when her daughter died, when anything bad's ever happened, she's just booked. She booked at the stadium. She booked everywhere. And I understand losing your index finger, especially in the manner she did, would be traumatic.
Traumatizing. Yes.
Okay, particularly since she had established at that point she was a pretty good sharpshooter.
Yeah, she was.
Um,
It was her trigger finger.
it was her trigger finger, but then again, you can retrain yourself.
Yes, you can.
And like I said, I'm walking around my craft room and I'm picking up needles and I'm picking up this, and I'm going, you know, she should still be able to do these things, even missing her index finger. She could retrain her fingers.
Yes, and she can also learn to use her left hand as
Yeah,
well. So, I feel like she's just making excuses and
and
it
she
was
was because,
tired.
and obviously she was making excuses because she ended up taking the bullet out and everything. She's trying to
Yes.
get everyone else to do it,
It took
but
more energy to try to talk them through it than to just do it yourself with the
mhm,
missing finger.
mhm,
It was so dumb. I
right.
just felt like that was another waste of energy as well. Like, why is she even here? Why are we doing this? I feel like she could have been much better used doing something else than this episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we got to see the sanctuary again. It has definitely fallen into some disrepair. But the fact that this place is ready to fall down like that seems a little odd. It was a factory,
Yeah, yeah.
but hey, whatever, made everyone happy. You know, you know,
So,
and, and the fact that they got refuge from the place that burned Dwight's face, I suppose, gave
okay.
him.
So when Dwight goes there, he goes to get this guy's Jay, I guess his name or something.
Hmm.
He goes to get him the insulin. He goes in there and he like, how do you just end up right in that section? Like right by that like furnace thing. Like why there's no place else you could be in there. You just go straight there. It just seemed a little weird. But okay, fine. And
Yeah,
then of course he gets into it with the guy. I'm like, "Oh my god, do not throw him in there." And he threw him in there. I'm like, "Oh my god. What are
yeah.
you doing? Who are you?"
Well, and just on a flip side, so when Sherry locked him in his room,
Oh my god.
why didn't he go out the window?
Oh jeez. Why is he punching walls and stuff? Like, what is this?
Yeah, why didn't he just go out the window?
I don't know.
Because
I
if I
don't know.
remember correctly, his room was not that far off. It wasn't high up. It was like on the first or second floor.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just wondered why he was, I know he's upset, but why is he punching walls trying to injure himself? Like, I feel like in this world you should not be going out of your way to injure yourself when you might need to fight any given moment.
Well, he'd already said that he'd given up on the whole living thing. I I guess
Oh,
the whole point,
the
the
two
whole
of them
point was he
and
was going back to the home that him and June had, and I think he had planned on dying there.
he did.
You
He
know,
did.
and then everything got disrupted. You know.
I don't know. I was kind of also over the whole "let me just lay down and die" scenario from both of them.
Hmm.
I'm kind of like, really? Okay. So you're both singing the same sad song. You're both being reckless. You're both acting the same. And it was
Right.
kind of like annoying a little bit.
Well, and Sherry's like, "You have to live, but I'm going to go kill myself." And he's like, "No, you have to live, but I am going to
Oh
go
my
kill myself."
God. Just both of you. Just go. Both of you. If you want to go so bad. Like,
Yeah,
I found it utterly, that whole line of
mess.
thinking, I just did not like at all.
Yeah, and I understand they lost a child. I get it. It's devastating. Then again, this is a child that they had very little contact with,
Well, Dwight
and
had the most contact because he
yeah,
was training him.
and I get it. I mean, I do get it. I have kids. The idea of losing one of them would devastate me. At the same time, again, it's been almost what, 6 months, a year now, and I don't know. They didn't have a whole lot to do with this kid. They willingly gave him up,
Yeah, they did.
and I don't know. The whole thing was just dumb.
Guilt, anger, and then okay, so I understand. Like, okay, so I guess if I had to say one thing that I did like about the sanctuary visit was, there were two things I liked from it. One was that we got flashbacks to kind of refresh everyone's memory on Negan.
Mm-hmm.
Because, now that Dead City is happening, all the people are pro Negan. Yay, he's redeemed. Yay, yay, woo, woo. I'm like, look, let's not forget what a D bag he was.
Right. As he
And
holds that iron up and stuff.
yeah, not only that, like, Sherry's looking at the pregnancy test. He was assaulting women.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, and me personally, I don't think that Negan is fully redeemed. I don't know if anyone can completely do a 180 forever from acting like that for years and years, and now you're just good. I don't know. So I have my own issues with the about face of that character. I don't know if I
Yeah.
fully believe it. And this episode kind of brought that up again. And I think that was good.
Yeah. I mean, Negan was he was, when you go into his origin stories, he was an okay guy. He wasn't exemplary. He wasn't a saint. He was an okay guy. He was an okay husband. He was an okay person. He lost his wife and things went awry, and he became this strong man. And as
He
you put it,
became a
D bag.
villain. A
You know,
villain. Like, who okay, yes. That's just like everyone else who has lost people. That hurts. It sucks, right? No one wants that.
right.
No, it takes everyone's got to get past it, right?
Hmm.
Why do you turn into a person that is bashing heads, raping women, and putting people trying to burn their face off? Like,
Right.
that is insane to me.
Oh yeah. You
So
know.
I can't find enough reason in my mind to make that reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, people do change over time. They do. And he did spend a lot of time in that jail cell. It's true. But that being said, I mean,
We saw him slip back into his old persona very easily in Dead City.
exactly. Exactly. I was going to say that.
Yeah,
He put it back on like a comfortable coat,
right.
or a comfy pair of
So what
shoes.
else is in there still?
Exactly.
So like I was saying, that's one thing that I could appreciate about this is that how they place the flashbacks,
Uh-huh.
I think kind of was a little dose of reality everyone needed.
Hmm.
Because everyone has been up that character's butt. And I'm like, let's not forget. So this was a reminder and I appreciate it. So the second thing that I liked about this is that even with all of the BS that was going on in this episode, I feel like now Sherry and Dwight both can finally like put this behind them. Like I don't feel like we need to keep hearing about their trauma forever for the
Right.
next 3 episodes. I feel like they've worked it out, right?
They saw the Finch.
Right. They
Anyway.
saw the Finch and they kind of said, we're not going to kill each other. We're not going to kill ourselves. We're going to live. We're going to do it for Finch. And there's the bird. And yay. So I feel like this brought that. And I don't know if we ever would have got the proper closure for them without it because they just were hanging on so tough.
Yeah. Well, and even the fact that they found refuge in the, in that uh, boiler thing.
Yeah.
The thing that caused Dwight the most trauma is
I
where they
know. They got in there. He's like, get in there. I'm like, what?
the fire's down and
Yeah.
yada yada. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I think that this was a whole bunch of drama for no good reason. But then again, I since we've come back, it's all been drama for no good reason.
Yeah.
So I don't, we got Troy destroying paradise, which still upsets me quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. Those Germans had done a really nice thing to that place. I mean, it was awesome.
Mhm.
They had pancakes and buffet bars, and I want to go there in the apocalypse. That's where I want to live. And
Yeah, I get it.
I'm still salty about that. And then they destroyed it. They're like, we still need a home. You got a home. All right, you had a really cool place and you destroyed it. And
Yeah.
and then let's all go to war. Why? Just let them die. Let them wander around, get eaten by an alligator or something. Come on.
I
You know,
mean, not to mention Troy could have been dead 3 times over by now.
right. Well, and then we have at the very end of the episode.
Oh my gosh. Uh yeah.
Yeah. So we see, Victor listening to a song and listen and then hearing the radio and have you seen her? We're looking for her. We're not giving up. And he's hanging up little dresses and like, what
That's
the
not creepy at all.
right. I'm like, what is he doing?
I knew exactly what he was doing. I said, "Oh, he got that girl. That's her
You
room."
know, had a nice creepy, Slaughterhouse-Five feeling or whatever. Um I don't do horror movies, but you guys insert appropriate horror movie name. Anyway, but bringing that little girl, it's gonna be okay.
Look, like any kidnapper thing you've ever watched, like that is it. Stay in this little creepy ass room. And yeah, I mean, like I was getting vibes of last season when he had Mo and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm your dad. I'm gonna be your dad." I'm like, "What?
Hmm.
Like, oh crazy? So what are you gonna try to like befriend this little girl or parent this little girl? What is happening?"
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget the hat. He's got the hat
He's
back
got the hat. Again, this has
again.
been 7 years since season 7 ended, right?
Yep.
It's never gone. He's in there,
Yep. He's got the hat back. It has begun.
you know.
Well,
The
and Madison knowing what he did. Okay, and here's the other thing. I don't understand why she is so mad at Troy, knowing what Victor did to Alicia.
Mhm.
He straight up went to war with her. And
Well,
somehow she can forgive
Alicia
Victor?
forgave. Yeah, she forgave because Alicia forgave, right?
I guess. But, it's this whole, Madison losing her crap over a young girl who killed her son. And I get it. That's traumatizing. But Victor did something almost as bad. And he was there when Alicia just walked off into the sunset, consigning her to die alone.
Yeah.
Instead of he could have chosen to stay behind with her.
I
Or
don't
they could have tried to
know.
convince her to come with or anything, but no, everyone just went, okay, we get it. That was dumb.
Well, Victor is always going to look out for number 1,
Yeah,
period. And even if it's someone he cares about, if he thinks that he'll have better luck for himself to leave you, he'll do it.
yeah,
He's like, "Yeah, you're like one of my best friends and family to me, but deuces."
yeah. Peace out.
He will
And
always look out for number 1. And that is something like just like with Negan, that is ingrained in him. Like that personality trait is ingrained in that character.
mhm.
So
and
even with a family, he still reverts right back.
yeah, well, because the thing of it is, when he held that building, he really became, Negan Junior. You know, I mean, he didn't have a baseball bat, but man, he was throwing people off that roof, with startling regularity.
Yes, I guess the one thing he had going for him is he just kept his hands to himself, as far as sexually,
Yeah,
but he was throwing people off the roof, with abandon, like, "Hey, you pissed me off over the roof."
right. I mean, he was doing some
Yeah.
not great things. And yet that's okay. Apparently now, I don't know. I'm
Hey, I couldn't understand why everyone was acting like they forgot last season, like,
right. Giving him
everybody.
hugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
weird.
so Daniel said we're not friends, but he said that one line, and then the next episode, he's like working with him, you
Yeah,
know?
like I say, I don't get any. I mean, from a human psyche point of view, everything everyone is doing since we have started back up doesn't make sense. Their motivations, the way they're reacting to each other, the way they're acting,
Mhm.
the things that they're doing, none of it makes sense. And I'm here to tell you, if I was in charge of Padre at that point, one, unlike Madison, I would not have walked away. And two, I would have said, all right, boys and girls, gather up your toys. We're going home and we're just going to leave this guy to rot.
Right.
And if he comes anywhere near, we're going to get one of our sharpshooters to shoot him in the head. Problem solved.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, and it's like I can't even try to figure out, like, what the end game is here, because I mean, obviously, the end game is gonna be for Padre to be safe from Troy, right? That's the end game, I think.
Yeah. But
But yeah.
the way they had everything set up in the mid-season finale, the whole point was they were going to rebuild Padre. They were going to do what they were what the one parents wanted them, or the one guy, the commander, the father, wanted them to do, which was to rebuild these communities using these supplies from Padre. And
Right.
as far as I can tell, the only person that's been doing it hasn't been Padre. It's been the what's her name, making the gasoline.
Oh, yeah.
She's the only one that's actually doing what the was implied at the end of, at the mid-season finale. We're going to rebuild Padre. We're going to have it be what it was supposed to be. We're
Yeah,
going to
but
go to
who
these.
knows where we are with that now. Now she, like, is angry about what Madison did.
Yeah, but again, and she doesn't want anything to do with that group anymore because they've got their own containers apparently,
Mhm.
and they're actually doing what Padre was supposed to be doing, which is distributing the goods and building these networks and building these communities. So this whole time that Madison has been in charge, what exactly has she done other than send out over the radio, we might have your kids?
Nothing. She's apparently done nothing.
Exactly. And so I had, going into this season, the ending season, I guess I had assumed that they would have already started building those pathways. Maybe, since, the other group was already doing that, connect with them and say, hey, help us distribute these supplies and do all this. And they haven't done any of that. But that's what I really thought it was going to be, was this building up of, we're going to build a better world kind of thing.
Okay.
And
Well, I mean, I think that's a nice idea, but I did accept expect some kind of big drama or something, because I feel like while seeing them build and nurture and grow and connect families is all sweet, it's very boring to watch, I think.
But I mean, at the same time, while they were doing that, they could have run into other groups that would try to take the supplies or do the beatdown, like the Troys, you know, and so they could have just, it's clearing the path, getting rid of these bad people. That's the conflict. They didn't have to bring back Troy himself to do that. They could have found, any bozo loser, you know.
Kind of like go back to the roots of The Walking Dead when they were bringing in people
Mm-hmm.
and trying to decide if people were good or bad.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe that could have been, I don't know. I just think,
Or it could have even been, hey, they found this community, they were building, helping to build it up, and it turns out they have a nefarious undercoat. They're cannibals. I don't know. Um,
yeah.
it's just, it seems like they're going out of their way to generate a false conflict. Because, like I said, what they're doing right now, that how everyone's reacting and doing and stuff, it doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, they could have brought Victor back as the bad guy if they'd really wanted to. You know,
That would have made more sense, honestly, because he
yeah,
was just acting bad. So,
yeah. They could have connected with this German community and found out that he's there. And when he gets a little taste of power again, Victor's back or
mhm.
Strand is back, and I don't know, away we went. We could have had one or two episodes of people getting back together, finding some lost loved ones, whatever. And then Victor does his thing,
Mhm.
and which would have made sense,
Yeah.
all things being equal. But
I
instead,
just realized something. Did you catch that Dwight didn't know that Victor was still alive? He hadn't seen him.
yeah, because he left right after. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, he's been gone a
So,
while.
yeah, so to think about it, so I guess in addition to Madison making the fight with Troy theirs, again, June is kind of like, I think, or maybe I think it was June that said, like, yeah, Victor's trying to take over and a lot has happened since you left. So I
Mm-hmm.
think they're trying to pull, I get it. They're trying to pull his character back into the fold of it and heal all
Mm-hmm.
this old stuff, but
Yeah,
still.
still. I don't know. I mean, it could have been a lot of different things. I guess, no use bitching about what it's not. But I, eh, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And and to be honest, I don't know if we needed a whole episode of that.
We didn't. We
We
really
could have
didn't.
split the time between them and what was going on. Maybe we could have seen some of the hunt for the child.
Yeah.
That could have been interesting to go back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
because honestly, all those people that they killed at the sanctuary, all those people were just throwaway people, whatever
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we can spend some of that time, they exploring their trauma and, and then finding out what other trauma was happening to other people on the other side in the other state.
Right.
That would have been an excellent way to split the episode, but instead it's just dragged on. And I didn't say this earlier, but y'all know when I have a hard time paying attention, it's because I think it's bad. I was watching TikTok videos. I was looking at my tablet. I put it down, rewind, hit play, pick up my phone again, rewind, hit play.
Yeah.
This went on over and over. It took me 2 hours to watch this freaking episode. It's I was finally able to just pay attention. It was horrible. I felt
Yeah.
like it was pulling teeth for me to watch this episode.
Yeah. It wasn't good. I mean, and like you were, because here's the thing: if they had gone back and forth between, they could have had the hunt for the little girl, and Victor doing his whatever, and they could have flipped over to, they could have just had Dwight, Sherry, and honestly, they could have just had Sherry go look for Dwight.
Yeah, June didn't need to be there.
And neither did Dove. But
Nope.
fine. But even if they had those other two with, for whatever reason, you know, they didn't have to have the drama. I mean, particular, you know, with the sanctuary or whatever. I mean, honestly, they could have even set it up so that, you know, he went to their home. You know, we could have seen part of his journey where maybe he went to him and June's home and then went to the sanctuary and, you know, to, I don't know, put to bed whatever demons were there or whatever. And that's where they caught up with him, or vice versa.
Mhm.
You know, we still could have gotten that. We didn't need this big, you know, they could have, the two of them could have had their come up in moment. You know, the building still could have fallen down around him just because it was old and whatever. They didn't need these throwaway guys.
I
Not
agree.
really.
Not really.
You know, if they had decided to split it up between them and what was going back in Padre, they could have even shown the kids and stuff at Padre and maybe being milling around in disarray. I don't know, as a reason, you know, to help bring home why they want him back so bad.
Yeah.
You know, something, anything. Um, but this whole episode just focused on those guys just seemed a bit
I feel like the writers
filler-ish.
are just getting lazy. It's like they know the end. It's the end. Let's just throw all this stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're getting real lazy with it. Like, how do we go? Like, this show, Fear in itself, has so many high peaks and low valleys.
Yeah. And I know that part of it was this whole nostalgia,
Hmm.
you know, which actually didn't, none of the nostalgia that they were bringing up in this show actually had anything to do with Fear the Walking Dead. It was all from The Walking Dead.
Hmm.
You know, except for the, you know, Finch dying, everything else was focused on the other show. And which is fine if they wanted to do that, you know, to bring those memories back or whatever. But again, they could have still had all of those moments without the additional conflict of these other people.
Right.
You know, they could have had Dwight walking through Sanctuary empty, you know, decrepit and crumbling, and had his moments. You know,
Yeah,
we
they
could have
could have
had,
had all those flashbacks, all the things.
yeah. And they could have had Sherry find him there and have her moments of flashbacks, blah, 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 you know, throughout. And, you know, if they'd intersperse that with, you know, another storyline, it actually would have been good.
Yeah, more entertaining for sure.
You know, that they're both, you know, all the trauma that got them to where they are, you know, and, you know, they could have focused on, you know, and when they see each other and, you know, they could have still had the building crumble down and having to take refuge in the furnace thing.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that moment of coming together and facing their trauma together would have been okay.
Yeah.
But instead they filled this whole episode with a whole bunch of filler with Dove getting shot and, you know, basically her saying, since the grown-ups took over, it sucks.
I
You know,
know.
her Peter Pan moment. um you
And
know,
then
and
she
the
does her little name reveal. Like, who cares? I don't even care what your name is, little girl.
right,
Does it matter?
right, you know, and all of that. I mean, all of it was just everything outside of that story with Dwight and Sherry coming together and meeting their trauma, where it all began,
Yeah.
you know, was just filler. And it could
So
have been so much better if they had just focused on the two of them.
so let me ask you, what did you think about um Dwight asking June to be a part of their family again? Like, what? I it seems so weird. Like,
Well, and Dove, you're part of it too if you want. I
yeah,
mean,
I
I don't
thought the
know.
whole thing was strange.
Well, I know it's harkening back to, I know that Dwight made the comment to her, to June, earlier in earlier last season, or not see, or earlier in the, yeah, you know what I mean. This
Mhm.
season, earlier in before the mid-season finale, had made some comment about, June being family. You're always going to be family. Now, of course, this was before him and Sherry decided to call it quits.
Oh my god.
But when she, darted them, sedated them, whatever, and they went through their whole thing, and he was like, you're still, part of our family and stuff. At that point, that was fine. But now it's, I don't know, it's odd, and
It is.
particularly to look at Dove and go, and you're invited too.
It's so weird. And she's like, "Oh, thanks."
Because as I understand it, he didn't even have a lot to do with Dove's training. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Again, I don't even know why she came on this particular
Dwight,
road trip.
his character got such the short end of the stick with the performances this episode. I feel like they could have given him more different, you know what I mean? He could have really made some really jaw-dropping scenes.
Well, because the one scene I really did like was when he came back, and with the insulin, and the one guy's dead,
Yeah.
and you can see the guilt. I tried to make it better, Daryl. I tried.
Mhm.
I did. And here's the thing: when that truck pulled up, there was a small part of me. I didn't want it necessarily to be Daryl. I wanted it to be a character from Alexandria.
Mhm.
Dwight, is that you? You know, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, that could have had some, fairly profound implications there. And again, it didn't have to be Daryl. It could have been, you know, pretty much anyone who knew Dwight from before.
Mhm.
Dwight, is that you? And I think it could have been so much more. He didn't have to go to Alexandria. They could have had this moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he said, I went off and I tried to do this, and he could have talked to another person from, say, Alexandria, and then had gotten at the end of it, he's like, man, maybe I really do need to go back. Have this epiphany that what he walked away from, maybe he shouldn't have, or something.
Yeah.
You
Although
know
I
what I
do
mean?
think that Dwight and Sherry needed to they started out together running havoc. They needed to end this together.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think, again, that having those two kind of tackle this in the same episode was good.
Yeah,
Although I think they are the worst couple.
they are.
They are the worst couple.
God, they're
Um,
awful. And I mean, and he
yeah,
kept saying we're bad for each other. And all I kept saying is, "You are. I agree."
yeah. You're a little toxic there, a little bit.
They are. I mean, and I don't particularly care much for Sherry's character. And honestly, since the first time she was on the screen, I have not cared for her character. And part of it is because she's the main driver in Dwight making a lot of bad life choices.
Yeah,
It was Sherry that wanted to go to Sanctuary, not Dwight. And when they were running away, and Daryl offered them, a place in Alexandria, basically, Dwight wanted to go. Sherry's the one that decided they were going to screw over Daryl.
right.
Sherry is the one that said all of this is okay and kept telling Dwight to get over her, get over it. She's going to be with Negan and yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
I mean, Sherry was the reason behind every bad decision
I mean,
that
for
got
him
him hurt.
tracking her into like, just leaving the group and tracking her because he was
Yeah.
obsessed.
Yeah. So she is, I think in the end, if it had not been for Sherry, Dwight would have been over with the Alexandria people,
Probably.
because Dwight was never really a bad guy. He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be with Negan's group. He didn't want to be in Sanctuary. He tried to get him and Sherry out, and Sherry's little sister, yada, yada, yada. He did everything he could to get away from that.
Dwight is such a beta.
Yeah.
And
And
there's nothing wrong with that, but,
no,
he has a difficult time dealing with alpha women, which is Sherry, who tell him
yeah.
what to do, when to do it.
And she has told him to
Yeah.
do some really awful things.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, there is no doubt that he loves her. I have quite a few doubts that she loves him back.
Not in the same way. I think she has some type of attachment to him, and maybe it's like,
Puppy dog.
yeah, yeah,
Good boy. Come here. Yeah, do what I want. Pat, pat, pat. I'm gonna rub your
yeah.
belly. Everything's gonna be
Oh my
okay.
god.
Okay,
They're
seriously.
codependent on each other at this point. That's what it is. Like, she's dependent on him chasing her, being like her lapdog, and just, I mean, they're codependent on each other for different reasons.
Right. And so like I said, I mean, since she's first come on the scene, I didn't like him. I didn't like her. I liked White, oddly enough. I did not like her. And but then, when
You know
he
where they effed up, to be honest. They effed up when she got pregnant. So, like, me personally, I didn't really think Sherry was the best character, but it was
yeah.
kind of refreshing to have someone who was a little gruffer, a little not very maternal, you know what I mean? Like a
Mhm.
different type of woman.
Yeah.
And I was okay with it, even though she had did some messed up things, right?
Mhm.
But I think they really kind of messed up with her character and this couple's relationship when they decide to let her get pregnant. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Right. Well, and there's even when he first ran into her, when he first reconnected with her. I mean, she was feral.
Yeah, she was. She was. She was
Um,
crazy. Like, what?
and he still looked at her with those big puppy eyes. But I love you, and she's like,
She gonna kick him right in the stomach. She's like, get out of here.
I'm surprised she didn't bite him.
Look, she was going to. I mean, she was gonna let these people, like, wasn't she gonna let them get got by those people?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
she was, and I mean, I think Dwight makes her a better person. Okay, but she is the reason that his entire existence is just screwed.
I know. I think the high point for them, to me, was when they were doing the whole, like, kind of Black Knight thing on
Yeah,
the horses.
yeah. When they were
That was
doing the
fun.
highwaymen, when they were,
Yeah, they were doing that. That was fun for them.
yeah,
But I
and
don't
that
know this.
suited them.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was, and I'll agree with you. That's probably the highlight of probably the best segment of their entire relationship.
Yeah,
And I was really sad that stopped.
I know. And now we're back to this garbage. But now that they've conquered this, I think it's totally possible that we might not see very much of them for the rest of the season.
Probably not. Probably not till like the, I don't know. Probably won't see him next episode at all. We'll see all the characters in the
Yeah.
finale.
I feel like they'll be around. They might have a line, or they
Hmm.
just might be in frame somewhere,
Yeah.
but they're not going to be the center point again.
Right. They had their moment.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I'm gonna say this. Well, I guess first episode was all about Strand and Madison, and second episode was whatever. Um, Troy, I guess. No, it wasn't. I don't even know
It
what he
was
was.
Madison and Charlie.
And Charlie, and now this one was, Dwight and Sherry.
Yeah.
So I wonder who's gonna be next week.
It's going to be Victor and somebody.
Yeah. Oh, Victor and Troy. I
Yeah.
got your kid.
Oh my God.
Gotta
Kidnapping
be nice to
children.
me. I got your kid.
Well, he's kidnapped children before, so
Yeah, so's Madison. the
yeah.
whole point of
So
a
look, we're
Padre.
going back to what Padre originally was known for. We're just kidnapping kids.
We're kidnapping kids because that's what Lee gonna say. We've changed. You know,
Slightly different motive, but still.
Same result.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm just glad there's how many 3 episodes left, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm ready
and
for this to end, and I feel bad for saying that a little bit, but
I'm ready to put this
I'm
one to
ready.
bed. I'm
Yeah.
ready to put this entire show to bed.
I agree.
Oh, we should I should mention we should mention looked it up before we started the episode tonight. In 110 days from today, we'll be we'll do the we'll be starting back up with the ones who lived.
Yay! Now that I am excited for, like, please, please, Lord, let these writers have got their life together and let the directors and the executive producers show up and give us a good product for that.
Yeah,
I really do not let us down. Everyone has been like fiending for this for years.
yeah. So I am excited about that one. I'm got my fingers crossed. You and I discussed again before the show, the possibility of maybe Morgan making a walk
Mm,
on
mhm.
sometime in that series, and I really hope they do because that would be a nice ending.
Yeah, they set it up, they could deliver it. Even if it's at the end, they
Yeah,
could do it.
and it could even be something as simple as because we know at the mid season finale we had Morgan on his walkie, basically sending out the same message to Rick that Rick was sending out to him.
Mhm.
It would, I mean, honestly, even if it was nothing more than on the very last episode, you hear Rick's radio,
Oh, that would
crackle,
be great. And you can hear Morgan's voice.
and you could hear Morgan's voice, and you could hear and go, "This is Rick."
Yeah, maybe as they're making the track back to their kids or something.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at that point, they wouldn't even have to have Morgan, or if they do, they could just do the shot of him,
Mhm.
you know. But that would be because he doesn't have to be in the show, but that little, they would have at that point come exactly full circle.
Oh, that would be perfect. Let's hope they do it. I
Yeah,
would love to see something like that for real.
that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it would. It absolutely would. Um, okay, I'm done with today's episode. What do you think? Are you done with
Oh
episode 9?
God, I was done a half hour ago.
Oh my god, well, we stretched that complaining.
Yeah, I know. I could complain all night, but truthfully,
I know, right? Well, we got 3 more to go. It's been a fun episode. Thanks for listening to the entire thing. If you're still listening to the sound of my voice, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are listening because we'll be back again next week and you want to get that notification. Also, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you are listening. And until then, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.